welcome to the Basketball and Beer Podcast, where we talk NBA basketball, drink craft beer, with a special focus on the Chicago Bulls because that's my team. I'm Brennan O'Connor. Let's go ahead and get started. Tonight I'm going to be drinking a craft beer called More Lucy, More Juicy by Short Fuse Brewing Company. That's one of my favorite. It's delicious. Everything they make is good. This is a hazy double India pale ale, and it's 10% alcohol by volume, because any beer that's less than 7% is not really a beer to me, right? So we're going to cover a number of Bulls topics. I'll get into some general NBA topics, and then we will wrap things up. So to start out, I wanted to talk about Coby White, the Bulls' first-round draft pick, number 7 in the first round this year. I was excited when we got him. Like everybody else, I was hoping that we would come away with the number 1 pick, get Zion. If not him, I was hoping we'd get second pick and grab Ja Morant. Those were kind of the unanimous 1 and 2 guys. That's the way it went. But after that, Coby White, I couldn't have been more happy with the pick. I had a really good feeling about who he was and the kind of player he was going to become. And so far, he's proven me right. He's been referred to as a baller by his coach, and he's showing to be in preseason. He's fearless. You know, he comes out, he can score from the 3-point line, even though he struggled some in the summer league. We know from college he can hit the 3. He can hit the mid-range shot. He's really good at that. He can handle the ball. And he's good at driving to the basket, making contact, and getting to the free throw line. The guy can score. He's fearless, and not in the way that Tyrus Thomas was fearless. If you watched the Bulls for a long time and you remember Tyrus, he's another guy who had high potential, but he made a lot of boneheaded plays. He wasn't afraid. He would take a big shot, but he just wasn't the guy you wanted taking the big shot, and he didn't know that. Only everybody else did. I remember Kirk Heinrich looking at him, like his hands up in the air, like, what is this guy doing? Coby's fearless, but not in that way. Coby has a high basketball IQ, and when you combine that with his competitiveness, his fearless nature, good things are going to happen for him, and I'm pumped that we got him. What's his ceiling? I think Coby can be a potential all-star. He's not going to be in the conversation, obviously, for it this year, but if he continues to progress, I think he's got that type of skill. Now, is he a point guard? Is he a 2 guard? There's been a lot of people saying he's not a point guard. I don't know. I think it's been said, he's a baller. He can score, and he's a better passer than people are giving him credit for. He hasn't had a lot of assists so far, but he's making the right passes, and that will come. He's a good player. He's got potential to be an all-star. This year, likely going to be our 6th man. I think Sato pretty much has the starting point guard job locked in, and I think that's going to be a good role for Coby to come off the bench, be that spark plug, score, not as much pressure. Sato is a vet. He'll get the ball, to the right people at the right time. I think that's perfect for this year. That being said, you never know with injuries. If Sato gets injured, I think you plug Coby in. Dunn can be a player for us in terms of coming in and playing some tough defense, but Coby has earned it so far with his play. If Sato gets injured, plug Coby in at the point guard as a starter. I'm happy with the pick, and I think by next year, Coby's going to be our starting point guard. Lauri, what is he? Is he a star player? Is he a role player? Hard to tell so far, right? He's been inconsistent, has been his thing. When we first drafted Lauri at number 7, I'll be honest, I was not pumped. I was disappointed. I was upset. I think I wanted Malik Monk, or I forget who else was in that draft, but I was not happy with Lauri. He proved me wrong in terms of, I watched some of the Finland games that before he started his rookie year with the Bulls, and he had some big shots. He was clutch, and I realized quickly that I didn't give him enough credit. And then he followed it up with a fantastic rookie season with the Bulls. Broke the record for all rookies in terms of 3-pointers made, I believe. And just all around, he played really, really well. Sophomore year, not so much. He was up and down. He had that February where he played like an all-star, 20-something, like 26 points and 12 rebounds a game for the month of February, I believe, something like that. But he also had many games where he didn't show up and played extremely passively, and it's hard to tell what Lauri's going to be. This is year 3, and a lot of times that's kind of that breakout year for players. So we'll see, this year, what's he going to be. A guy who he reminds me of, not in his style of play, but just in this conversation of who he is and is he a star or a role player, he reminds me a lot of Luol Deng in that regard. Because if you remember back, Luol was a guy who, he had a couple of 40-point games. He was a really good player. He made an all-star game one season. But he wasn't a star. He wasn't a star player. He was a really, really good role player. And I think that that might be what Lauri is. Time will tell, and I hope this season he proves me wrong and shows that he is a star player. But like Luol, he seems to me to be a guy who, if he's playing with all-stars, he'll be perfect, and you couldn't ask for a better guy to be on your team playing with a couple of other all-stars. But when you start asking Lauri to be your all-star, like Luol Deng, we wanted him to be a superstar or our all-star. That's just not who he was. He wasn't that good. He was a very good role player. And I think that may be what we find out Lauri is, a really, really good role player who needs to be playing with a couple other all-star players to really maximize his potential and what he can do in the NBA. Now, maybe I'm wrong and he becomes an all-star. I hope that's the case, but we'll see. Zach Lavine, is he an all-star? Yes. I think he's definitely going to make the all-star game this year. He put up all-star numbers last year, but the Bulls, were horrible last year. And a lot of times, as good as a player is, if their team is winning 20-something games, you're not making the all-star game. I think this year, the Bulls have a chance to be pretty decent, like in the conversation for the playoffs. A lot of it depends on health, but they've got an opportunity to be in the conversation for the playoffs. And if that's the case, and if Zach puts up numbers like he did last year, especially with the All-Star game being in Chicago, I think he's going to make it this year. The biggest key for Zach, a lot of people want him to be a better defender. And I understand that. But at this point in his career, I don't really care so much about how good of a defender he is. If he can be okay on defense where he's not hurting you, that's all I need out of Zach. Be okay on defense, give effort, do your best to stay in front of your man, don't hurt us. And, he's not going to be a great defender, and he doesn't have to be. When he's putting up scoring numbers like he is, that's what he gives your team. Now, if that's the only thing he's giving your team, then he's not an all-star. But the X factor for him is going to be playmaking. If Zach can become a playmaker, that's going to be the difference between him being a fringe all-star and a year after year after year continuous all-star. If he can continue to drop 25 points a game, and instead of last year he had just under 5 boards and 5 assists, if he can get that assist number to 7, 25 points, 24 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, those are all-star numbers, and he'll be an all-star every year if he can do that. And I think for the Bulls to win, it's what he needs to become, somebody who can not only score the ball, but attack the rim and then set other people up. If he can do that, we've got a lot of good young pieces. If Zach can be our guy that is not only our stud, franchise level scorer, but also a guy who can make other guys better by drawing the attention and then making the right play instead of turning the ball over, make the right play, hit the right guy. If Zach can do that, then, he's going to be an all-star year after year, and the Bulls will have a chance to win a lot more games. Last Bulls player I'm going to touch on for this first podcast here is Wendell Carter Jr. Excuse me. Stay healthy, man. Stay healthy. That's what we need from you, is to stay healthy. He had a pretty good rookie year. He got injured, and he's injured at the start of this season. Hopefully, we'll get a full year of health out of him so we can see who he is, how he fits in with the team. He's a smart guy. He's a good rebounder. He's a really good defender when he's not getting dumb fouls. That was one problem with him last year, was he was quick to draw 2 or 3 fouls on just like tic-tac stupid, move your feet, keep your hands to yourself, and just be in the right spot. But he's a good defensive player, and he's one of those guys who can be a glue guy for us, I think. Last year he had a game where he dropped 28. He's capable of scoring the basketball. It's not really who we need him to be. We just need him to be a threat, play good defense, get rebounds, make the right plays. He can be a glue guy for us. Just stay healthy, Wendell. Bulls record. Okay, so what are your predictions for the Bulls record? I'm going to say that the Bulls are going to win 36 games this year. There's probably a range. I could think they'll be anywhere from 32 to 40. I think they're at least getting 32 wins with the vets that they pulled in, barring injury. If they can stay healthy, I don't think that they're gonna. They'll at least get 32 wins. 40 is pushing it, but you never know. If the chemistry's right and things are clicking, they have a chance to get 40 wins. They're going to be in the conversation for the playoffs, I think, and we'll see what happens, but I'm hoping for the best. All right, we touched on Coby, Lauri, Zach Lavine, and Wendell Carter Jr. In NBA news, there was a post on Real GM in a general forum about who would you rather have on your team? Who's better, or who would you rather start a franchise out with? Luka Doncic or Zion Williamson? Luka or Zion? Now, you can't go wrong with either one of these picks. These guys are both studs. I'll admit that Luka, I was wrong when we were trying to draft him, or when we were in the conversation for possibly having a first pick in his draft. I wanted DeAndre Ayton. I didn't want anything to do with Luka, and I was wrong. Luka Doncic is a stud. He's a smart player. He's a wizard with the basketball, and he's unbelievable. He's clutch. He's competitive. He's so skilled. Great player. Zion is just a freak. There's really never been anyone quite like him with his size and his skill set, his power and ability, the way he moves on the court. And not only is he basically unstoppable at getting to the rim, but he's a better passer than he gets credit for, and he's really good on defense. He gets in the passing lanes. He just snatches the ball from people. He's a game changer. In preseason already, he's had multiple 20-point games where he's missed like 2 shots because all of his shots are at the rim and nobody can stop him from getting there. So I want to know, what do you think, Luka or Zion? If you're starting a franchise, let me know in the comments down below. Who are you picking? Who are you starting a franchise with, Luka or Zion? Can't go wrong, but what are you choosing? For me, right before I started this podcast, I thought I had my mind made up, and I thought I would say Luka because of his skill set and his just ability to win. His rookie year was incredible. He's clutch. But last minute, I made the switch. Zion, not only is he an exciting player, I think we haven't seen anything like him. He's been like when LeBron came into the league, the way he took over. I think that Zion's having a somewhat similar impact, and I can't wait to see what he does this rookie year. I wish the Bulls could have picked him up, but hey, I'm happy with Coby White, and I'm excited to watch Zion's career in the NBA as well. So we've covered a lot of Bulls players, predictions. We've talked about Luka versus Zion. Thank you for listening, and make sure to hit subscribe because I want to have this conversation with you, continue talking about Bulls basketball, NBA basketball, and drinking a little craft beer with you as well. So in closing, I'll explain this in a minute. Let's all close our eyes, take a nice deep breath. I'm a meditation teacher as well, so that's what that's about. It's important to take a minute, take a breath. Beer is good. Basketball is great. But what's really important is treating people right. Be kind. Be you. And make sure to subscribe so we can keep talking basketball. I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for listening.